Once again, we're continuing with our Shoel umeishiv series. This is number 12 with Rabbi Leib Tropper, and we're learning this particular segment. In this previous segment, Leilu Nishmas, Reb Aaron Felder Zekatzadik Lebracha, who was recently nifter, and Badal L'chaim, the schus refuah shlema for Chana Rachel Bas Leah Meshiach refuah shlema b'mehera. Reb Leib, here are some of the questions that we're going to be talking to you about today, which hopefully you can shed some light on for us. Teaching Torah. Does a Rebbe have to go to his Talmidim and seek them out, or is it really incumbent the other way around? Well, Talmidim who want to learn from a particular person, or a rabbi, a Rebbe, that they should actually seek him out?
That question encompasses a lot of different variations. When it comes to teaching children, if you're asking if one has to search to find the jobs, the good teacher find the job in Philadelphia, look for Talmidim, or could he stay home in Brooklyn and wait for Talmidim to come? Other than the Parnasa factor, I'm not talking about the Parnasa, that's another issue. But besides the Parnasa factor, a person wants to be altruistic, so the Gross says a person doesn't have to be altruistic in that. He could just stay, Talmidim come to him. Taking money out of the picture, the need for his Parnasa out of the picture. The Gross writes in Mishlei Beferish, and there's no one doesn't have to go out and look for Talmud, look for jobs out of town. It's Mishlei Tezvav, the Gra writes that. So that's one area. Reb Chaim Kanievsky added to that, I think in the Derech Sicha, I think he adds to that if a Talmud, if they have Talmidim Hagunim, a lot, a group of very special Talmidim who thinks him teaching them will be big to Elis, then Talmud Torah would be a nice thing to do. It's a nice thing to do to go and be mechanech them and learn with them and teach them, and they could become maybe, who knows, Chachamim, Gedolei Torah, whatever it may be. However, there's another issue, a component to this, and that's I had this discussion with Moran HaGoyin, Moshe Shapiro in Israel, and other people. I think there's really a misnomer, a misunderstanding of a halacha, in my view, I humble you. There is no makar, there's no source for kiruv in the Torah. No source. People say to me, well, what about the din of arvis? You're Arif, you're responsible. Yeah, you're Arif if you see the person doing an avera, but I have to go. Who tells us we have to travel to go out of town to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which I did, to go and find somebody who's not doing mitzvahs? I mean, that's Arvis means you see somebody doing an avera, so you have to try to stop him and encourage him and teach him and do whatever it takes. But if you have to travel, go out and look for people who are balei avera, there's no such source. Mm-hmm. However, there is a caveat to that. And the PS to that is, unless we learn Pshat in a certain mitzvah the way the Rambam does. The Rambam talks about the mitzvah of Avas Hashem. The mitzvah of Avas Hashem, Rambam says, is a person should love Hashem so much so that he cannot hold himself back from running out and calling out to all people to love Hashem. When you love somebody, he says, you tell everybody, I love this person, I love this person, I love that person. You talk about them in such a positive ways and great ways. So Havlu, the Eibush, the Melech Malchem Lochem. I love the Eibush. You tell people, you run out and you call like Avram Avinu did. He went all around to tell people about the Eibush, because he came from Avas Hashem. So if it's rooted in Avas Hashem, then that's the mitzvah. Then you become mitzvah Avas Hashem. But if somebody's not into Avas Hashem at all, he says, I'm just into, quote unquote, into Kiruv. I'm into Kiruv. 3 words. I'm into Kiruv. That's what I'm into.
Yeah, one would hope that one would go hand in glove with the other. Correct. Let me ask you this, Rabbi. A bar mitzvah boy, on the day of his bar mitzvah, prior to the actual fulfillment of the mitzvah, becoming bar mitzvah, he would make a birkas Torah in the morning. Now that night he becomes actually a bar chiyuva. Does he make another bracha on birkas Torah?
Night of when it comes to bar mitzvah, because up to now, we'll try to explain the question. Up to now, right, up to his bar mitzvah night, his father's mechuyev to teach him Torah. He's not mechuyev to teach him Torah. So he makes the bracha, whatever ein mitzvah v'vos, whatever other brachas he does, he makes, but he's not really be'etzem mechuyev in Talmud Torah. There's no chiyuv except tzivanu, lasik b'divrei Torah. So at night, Rabbi Yashiv does suggest, Rabbi Yashiv suggests that he should be mechaven in Abba Rabbah to be yetzer, like Abbas Olam. At night, when you say Abbas Olam, Torah mitzvah is chukum mishpat ma'ason limadata. We should have in that. This is the bracha on Torah that I'm making.
Okay,
that's the psak of Moran Rabbi Yashiv. I think it's brought down in Sefer Shvus Yitzchak from one of his Talmidim, Rabbi Arzi's Shlita, the big Talmud Chacham.
On the Indian of Birkas HaTorah, let's say there's somebody who is just beginning their learning process and they're learning Aleph Beis. Now, you're coming to teach this person Aleph Beis, and are you required to make a bracha on, if you, let's say for some reason, you hadn't made Birkas HaTorah yet, all right, and the person they just happened to show up and they said, I'm a little late for my lesson, but could we start now? Do you have to make Birkas HaTorah in order to teach somebody Aleph Beis?
That's very interesting. So that question you're asking probably would be more appropriate. Probably, I mean, the question is more appropriate which for children is very appropriate when that happens. But also, when you're teaching Bali Tshuva, Aleph Beis is he have to make a Birkas HaTorah and you have to make a Birkas HaTorah, right? Because people Charus is learning both have to make a Birkas HaTorah. So the question is if both of them have to make a Birkas HaTorah in a certain sense, correct? Chaim Kanievsky again in Derech Sicha writes that there's no requirement. I'm sorry, right? There is a requirement to make Birkas HaTorah on Aleph Beis, even though it sounds like it's just a language of teaching ABC. I mean, but because it's Oisius HaKodesh, it's the Oisius that make up the Torah. It's considered Liman HaTorah.
So, if a person themselves were walking down the street and wanted to be Mekayim Lechtek of a derech.
Interesting point.
So you could say Aleph Beis and you could have in Zin. This is a fulfillment.
However, that's true. You can repair it, but however, the issue with that is
terribly deep, but maybe it is.
The Chaim Volozhin writes in his Nefesh HaChaim that if somebody could do something with a greater thought, a greater amkis, and greater havana, and waste his time to do something which is very, kind of like just relaxed learning without any thinking.
That just is snorkeling instead of deep sea diving.
Right. That's Bittul Torah.
Oy. Halakha pertaining to Shabbos, Leib. We all know that there are different types of caps that are on various bottles, particularly aluminum caps. Some say represent a particular challenge on Shabbos. Can you help us understand that?
The twist-off caps, we twist off and the bottom part stays. Mm-hmm. So the issue is making the cap into a keli. Not the bottle into a keli. Keli is
the cap itself.
Cap itself, right. So I'm actually chazering that sugya in the Gemara, and what I can tell you is particularly, I don't want to go into the Arichos right now, Rebbe Yashiv, Maron Rebbe Yashiv, Aser, Shlomo Zalman Asered, to do that. You can't do that. However, the Rosh Bezdin of the Badatz, Yankel Fisher, Moron Yankel Fisher, I have to forget Zatzal, was materet. Because he says it's a keli garua. It's not a real. People don't use caps walking around using like tops of bottles for anything. It's a keli garua. Since it's a keli garua, it's mutter to open on Shabbos. Even with, he doesn't talk about letters or anything else like that.
So I guess to fulfill both of them, we would probably be better off not taking any chances and taking the cap off before Shabbos.
That's the best thing to do. But the Maisa, you can't impose or remark to someone who does do it, because Rabbi Shai does say it's mutter to do it. Just refrain from remarking from anybody. If you see somebody doing it, just hold back and from saying anything, because Rafisha is basically enough to Klal Yisrael to matter it, and he is matter.
I've seen on some wine bottles that have corks in it, they also have an aluminum. You can't really tell it's aluminum. It's a foil, more like foil, and it has a little tab on it that you pull so that the whole cap will come off, allowing you to open the cork. So would that be mutter? And also, once you get to the cork itself, any problem with taking the cork out on Shabbos?
No, the cork is not a problem. The cork is not a problem, no. But it's probably mutter. That would be mutter. And actually, if you want to look up the Yankel Fish's, for those who want to look up the Yankel Fish's tshuva, I think it's in Chelek Zayin of his tshuvas Even Yisrael, Siman Yutes, if I remember correctly.
Would be any difference between opening these same items on Shabbos and Yontif als Ochel Nefesh on Yontif?
That's not matter anything else of those that are making a keli on Yontif.
Okay, Leib, thank you very much on our ongoing series of Shoel umeishiv. Look forward to the next segment.
Right, and Mr. Shem, we do want to talk about next time. Well, not in the halacha section of our discussion, but in the talking about issues for Klal. So I do want to talk about the concept of the frustration of not finding meaning in life.
We'll look forward to that. Thank you very much, Leib.